The Krelans were a race of small, fragile-looking aliens with shimmering blue skin and large, expressive eyes. They lived on a lush planet called Creel, where vibrant flora and gentle streams painted a picture of harmony. However, this peaceful existence was shattered as the Galactic Empire descended upon them like a storm. Hovering battleships blotted out the sun, casting dark shadows over their beautiful world. The air filled with the sounds of destruction, explosions echoed, and the cries of the Krelans rang out as their home was ravaged. Inside the Krelan command center, panic ensued. The leaders scrambled to find a way to protect their people. On the screens, they watched in horror as robotic soldiers with gleaming armor marched through their cities, dismantling everything in their path. The Krelans had always been a peaceful race, relying on their connection to nature and their technological advancements for survival. But their technology was no match for the overwhelming firepower of the Empire. In a desperate move, the Krelan leaders decided to launch an evacuation. They knew they had to flee or face total annihilation. The escape ships, though not as advanced as the Empire's, were their last hope. As the Krelans rushed to the launch site, the reality of their situation sank in. Children clutched their parents' hands while the elderly struggled to keep up. Everyone was filled with fear, unsure of what awaited them beyond the stars. The countdown began. 3, 2, 1. The engines roared to life, and the ships lifted off the ground, escaping the chaos below. But just as they thought they were safe, a chilling announcement crackled through the ship's comm system. A voice, cold and mechanical, echoed in their ears. "Attention, Krelan survivors. Your entire race will be eradicated. Prepare for your doom." This shocking message sent a wave of despair crashing over the crew. With their hearts racing, the Krelans felt the weight of their impending doom. They realized that even in the void of space, they might not escape the clutches of the Empire. The urgency of their situation heightened as they activated their ship's cloaking device, hoping to evade detection. Yet, just as they began their journey, the ship shook violently. An Empire warship had locked onto them and fired a missile. "Brace for impact!" a voice shouted, but it was too late. The ship was struck, sending them spiraling out of control. Alarms blared, and the lights flickered as chaos erupted on board. The Krelans scrambled to stabilize the ship, but their efforts were in vain. They were losing altitude fast. The once vibrant views of Creel faded into darkness as they plummeted toward an unknown destination. As the ship crashed through the atmosphere, a feeling of dread filled the air. With a deafening roar, they landed hard on a foreign planet. Smoke filled the cabin, and debris scattered everywhere. The crew struggled to escape the wreckage, gasping for air and assessing their situation. They emerged into an alien landscape, unlike anything they had ever seen. The sky was a brilliant blue, and strange creatures roamed the land. The Krelans quickly realized they were on Earth, a planet that seemed both beautiful and terrifying. In the distance, they spotted strange structures made of metal and glass, unlike anything they had ever encountered. Their hearts sank as they realized that they were far from home, in a world that could either be their salvation or their doom. As they gathered their thoughts, the Krelans knew they had to find a way to survive. They were not just fleeing from the Empire, they were searching for a new home. Hope flickered in their hearts, mingled with fear. Could they trust these new beings, the humans? Would they be welcomed or hunted down like they were on their own planet? The future was uncertain, but the Krelans had one chance to find safety, and they were determined to seize it. Their journey had only just begun, and they would need every ounce of courage and unity to navigate the challenges ahead. The Galactic Empire would not stop hunting them, and their fate hung in the balance. As they took their first steps on this new world, they were filled with a mix of fear and hope, ready to face whatever came next. After crashing on Earth, the Krelans emerged from the wreckage of their ship, trembling with fear and confusion. The sky above them was vast and blue, and the strange sights and sounds filled them with both wonder and dread. They had no idea what awaited them in this new world. Their hearts raced as they moved cautiously through the underbrush, unsure if they would be welcomed or attacked. As luck would have it, the Krelans had landed near a training area for human soldiers. A group of soldiers, outfitted with advanced gear and cloaking devices, were running drills, practicing combat strategies and techniques. They were highly trained and prepared for any threat. Suddenly, the soldiers spotted movement in the trees and immediately went on high alert. "Prepare for engagement!" Sergeant Bonner, a tall and rugged leader with a determined expression, commanded his team. The soldiers activated their cloaking devices, rendering themselves nearly invisible. They approached the Krelans, their hearts pounding, ready for anything. The Krelans saw shadows moving and heard whispers. Panic surged among them. They feared they had been discovered by the Empire. With their advanced technology, the soldiers misunderstood the Krelans' fearful gestures as signs of aggression. Tension built as both sides prepared for a confrontation. The Krelans instinctively raised their hands in peace, trying to communicate that they meant no harm, but the soldiers remained cautious, unsure of what these strange beings wanted. Amidst the standoff, Lyra, a young Krelan with wide, expressive eyes, stepped forward. Her heart raced as she looked at the humans. She felt small and vulnerable, knowing how easily they could wipe out her kind. Sergeant Bonner, noticing her fear, lowered his weapon slightly, sensing her sincerity. He took a step closer, trying to bridge the gap between them. In that moment, their eyes met. Lyra's gaze held a mix of desperation and hope, while Bonner's showed concern. He saw her as more than just an alien. He recognized the fear in her eyes that mirrored his own experiences. It was a moment of understanding that broke the tension. "Wait," Bonner said softly, trying to convey that he meant no harm. "We're not your enemies." Lyra hesitated, then nodded slowly. This simple exchange began to humanize the Krelans for the soldiers. Instead of seeing them as a threat, they saw beings in need of help. Empathy began to blossom in the hearts of the humans as they realized these aliens were fleeing for their lives, just as they would in the face of danger. The soldiers lowered their weapons completely, recognizing that the only way to move forward was through trust. As they stood together in that remote area, the two races took their first steps toward an unexpected alliance, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As Lyra and Sergeant Bonner stood together, an unspoken understanding began to grow between them. The soldiers brought the Krelans to a secure base where they could safely communicate and learn from each other. The humans set up a small camp filled with tents and high-tech equipment, while Lyra and the other Krelans marveled at the humans' advanced technology. During their first meeting, Bonner and Lyra exchanged knowledge about their respective cultures. Bonner shared information about Earth's defense mechanisms, explaining how they used radar and satellites to protect their world. The Krelans, in turn, unveiled some of their own technology. Lyra excitedly spoke about a cloaking device they had developed before their exile. "It can make us invisible to scanners and even the naked eye," she explained, her eyes sparkling with pride. Bonner was fascinated. "This could help us against the Empire," he said, thinking of the looming threat they all faced. The two races began to work together, combining their technologies and skills. Lyra taught the soldiers how to use the cloaking device effectively, while the humans showed her how to operate their advanced weaponry. Slowly, trust blossomed between them. They shared meals, stories, and laughter, each group learning more about the other's way of life. As they built this new alliance, they discussed their fears and hopes. Lyra spoke about the Krelans' peaceful nature and their desire to live without fear of destruction. The humans shared their own struggles against threats from outside their planet. They realized they had much in common, both fighting for their survival and the chance to protect their loved ones. However, lurking in the shadows was a great danger. Unknown to the Krelans and their new allies, the Galactic Empire had discovered their location on Earth. The Empire's spies had been monitoring communications and were determined to eliminate any threat to their power. News of the Krelans' crash landing reached the Empire's leaders, who dispatched a powerful fleet to Earth. Back at the base, Lyra and Bonner felt a growing sense of hope. They believed that with their combined strengths, they could stand against the Empire. But deep down, they both sensed that danger was approaching. The atmosphere became tense as they realized they were not just allies in learning, but also in battle. They needed to prepare for the conflict that would soon erupt. As the Krelans and humans continued to work together, the alliance strengthened. They were determined to protect one another and to fight for their futures, ready to face the formidable threat of the Galactic Empire together. The bonds they formed would be tested in ways they could not yet imagine, but they were ready to stand side by side as they faced the darkness that was coming. The calm before the storm shattered as the Galactic Empire launched its full-scale attack on Earth. Massive warships, brimming with advanced weapons and drones, descended from the sky like dark clouds, ready to unleash chaos. The air was thick with tension as the humans and Krelans, now united as allies, prepared for battle. At their base, Bonner gathered the soldiers and Krelan warriors. "This is our moment," he declared, rallying everyone with fierce determination. Lyra stood beside him, her hands trembling with a mix of fear and excitement. "We've trained together for this. We can do it," she reassured him and the others. The humans donned their cloaking devices, becoming nearly invisible, while the Krelans readied their advanced technology, which had the potential to turn the tide of the battle. As the enemy fleet moved in, the sky erupted with explosions. Orbital bombardments lit up the darkness, casting a terrifying glow over the landscape. Bonner and his team took positions, crouching behind makeshift barriers, their hearts racing. Drones zipped through the air, firing lasers, while AI-controlled warships launched missiles that streaked toward the ground. The sound of destruction filled the air, a deafening roar of war. With a nod from Bonner, the humans activated their cloaking devices and advanced. They moved silently, taking the Empire by surprise. The soldiers engaged the enemy troops, charging into battle with fierce determination. Close-quarters combat erupted as they fought back against the relentless assault. Bonner found himself face-to-face with an enemy soldier, exchanging blows in a desperate struggle for survival. Meanwhile, Lyra tapped into her Krelan technology. With swift movements, she activated a device that emitted a pulse, disabling several enemy ships hovering above. The drones faltered, losing their targeting systems, and crashed to the ground in fiery explosions. She felt a surge of power as she fought for her new home alongside her friends. The scene was chaotic and intense. Flames engulfed the battlefield and smoke filled the air, making it hard to see. Bonner shouted commands to his team, rallying them to push forward. The humans fought valiantly, determined to protect their planet and their new Krelan friends. Lyra darted between the combatants, using her skills to create opportunities for the humans. As the battle raged on, the Krelan warriors proved their worth, moving with grace and agility. Their advanced cloaking technology allowed them to strike from the shadows, turning the tide momentarily. Yet, despite their efforts, they were heavily outmatched. More enemy ships arrived, their numbers overwhelming. In the midst of the chaos, Bonner spotted an enemy warship that loomed over them, ready to unleash its deadly firepower. "We have to take that ship down!" he yelled, rallying Lyra and the others. The weight of the moment hung heavily in the air as they prepared for a daring assault, united against the looming threat. With hope in their hearts and determination in their eyes, the humans and Krelans charged forward, ready to face the full might of the Galactic Empire. They fought not just for survival, but for their newfound bond, a chance to create a future free from fear and oppression. The outcome of the battle hung in the balance, and they were ready to give everything for victory. The battle intensified, and chaos reigned on the battlefield. Explosions rocked the ground, and the air was thick with smoke and the sounds of conflict. Amidst the turmoil, Sergeant Bonner and Lyra fought side by side, their bond growing stronger as they faced the enemy together. But as the Galactic Empire pressed forward, the stakes grew higher, and danger lurked at every corner. In a critical moment, an enemy soldier aimed a weapon directly at Lyra. Time seemed to slow as Bonner noticed the threat. Without thinking, he lunged forward, shoving Lyra out of harm's way. The shot rang out, and Bonner fell to the ground, a look of fierce determination etched on his face. "Keep fighting, Lyra!" he shouted, his voice filled with urgency even as the life drained from him. Lyra's heart shattered as she watched Bonner sacrifice himself for her. Tears streamed down her face, mixing with the dirt and smoke of battle. She felt a deep sense of loss, but within that grief, a fire ignited in her heart. The remaining soldiers and Krelans witnessed Bonner's bravery, and his sacrifice fueled their determination. They could not let his death be in vain. Together they rallied, the pain of loss transforming into a fierce resolve to fight for their fallen friend. The tides of battle shifted as the Krelans and humans united their strengths. They combined their knowledge, using every tactic they had learned from each other. Lyra, remembering Bonner's teachings, took charge. "We need to outsmart them!" she called out, her voice ringing with confidence. The soldiers and Krelans exchanged glances, their resolve strengthening with each passing moment. In a pivotal moment, Lyra activated a new AI weapon that had been developed with the help of the humans. "Let's show them what we can do," she shouted. The weapon hummed to life, sending out powerful waves of energy that disrupted the enemy's systems. Drones malfunctioned, and enemy warships began to fall from the sky. The sight of their enemies faltering ignited a spark of hope among the Krelans and humans. As they pressed forward, the unity between the two races shone brightly. They fought side by side, their differences fading away in the face of a common enemy. The Galactic Empire, once so powerful, began to realize that they were not facing just a primitive race. They were facing a united front of determined allies. With each victory, they felt Bonner's spirit with them, driving them to fight harder. The battlefield became a testament to their sacrifice, strength, and unity. Lyra led the charge, her heart filled with love for her fallen friend and a fierce desire for victory. As they pushed toward the heart of the enemy forces, they knew they were fighting not just for themselves, but for Bonner's memory, a symbol of hope and bravery. Together, the Krelans and humans turned the tide of battle, showcasing the strength that comes from collaboration. In that moment, they became more than just allies. They became a family, bound by sacrifice and a shared purpose. With each step they took, they honored Bonner's sacrifice, determined to win and create a future where both their races could thrive in peace. As the dust settled and the last remnants of the Galactic Empire fled, a profound silence enveloped the battlefield. The fight had been hard-won, and both the humans and the Krelans stood together, breathing heavily but filled with a sense of accomplishment. They had faced overwhelming odds and emerged victorious, proving their strength and unity. With the enemy defeated, Earth and the Krelans entered a new phase in their relationship. Leaders from both sides gathered to discuss their future. "From this day forward, we will forge an alliance," declared a human general, his voice firm and filled with hope. "We promise to protect each other from any threat, ensuring that no one else suffers as we have." The Krelans nodded in agreement, their eyes shining with gratitude. This was a moment they had longed for, a chance to build a future free from fear. As part of their new alliance, the two races decided to hold a memorial to honor those who had fallen, especially Sergeant Bonner, who had sacrificed everything for their survival. The ceremony was held in a peaceful clearing, surrounded by trees and flowers. Soldiers and Krelans gathered together, their hearts heavy but united in purpose. Lyra stood before the gathered crowd, her voice steady as she spoke. "Today we remember not just Bonner but all who fought bravely. Their sacrifices paved the way for this new beginning. Candles were lit and flowers were placed at the foot of a simple monument that honored the fallen." Lyra's eyes filled with tears as she placed a flower in front of Bonner's name, feeling the weight of her loss, but also the strength of their shared journey. "We will not forget," she promised softly, feeling the support of her comrades around her. With the memorial complete, the mood shifted from sorrow to hope. The humans and Krelans discussed their plans for the future, eager to explore the galaxy together. "We have so much to learn from each other," a Krelan leader said, excitement bubbling in his voice. "Imagine the adventures we can have." As they prepared to embark on this new journey, the two races stood side by side, ready to face whatever lay ahead. The spacecraft, now a symbol of their unity, glimmered in the sunlight. With a final salute to their fallen comrades, they boarded the ship, ready to explore the stars together. The engines roared to life and the ship lifted off, ascending into the vastness of space. Through the windows, they watched as Earth grew smaller, but their hearts swelled with anticipation. This was the beginning of something extraordinary, a shared destiny filled with endless possibilities. As they soared through the stars, laughter and chatter filled the ship. They exchanged stories of their worlds, their cultures, and their dreams for the future. Lyra looked around at her new friends and felt a sense of belonging she had never known before. Together, they represented hope and the strength that comes from embracing diversity. The final scene painted a picture of optimism and unity, leaving readers with the promise of future adventures and the enduring legacy of the sacrifices made. In that moment, they understood that together, they could overcome any challenge, and the galaxy was theirs to explore.